What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Put 'em on a Poster podcast. If you're new to the channel, my name's Chandler, and man, let's hop directly into talking about the trade deadline, man. What a trade deadline, man. This was one of the best trade deadlines I've ever experienced in my life. It honestly might be the very best trade deadline I've experienced in my life. That's how crazy it was. There was a lot of moves today. Today, and there was a couple moves this past week. This was insane, man. You know, looking at Woj's Twitter, obviously there was a couple of trades that happened before this. You see Kyrie Irving ended up getting traded to the Dallas Mavericks. A lot of people thought this trade deadline in general was just going to be pretty dead. Like, there wasn't going to be any sort of big names getting traded. Nothing big was expected to happen. It was kind of just a bunch of smaller retooling trades, right? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. And even then, they didn't expect there was going to be a lot of trades to begin with. There was a ton of trades today, and there was a couple big-time names getting traded. Obviously, as I mentioned before, Kyrie Irving gets traded to Dallas for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a pick, whatever, right? Kevin Durant gets traded at 1 in the morning to Phoenix. He gets traded for Jay Crowder, or Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 first-round picks, and a swap. And the picks are 2023, 2025, 27, and 29, which obviously, you know, Phoenix, in my opinion, they stole Kevin Durant. I made a video, or in my previous video, I talked about this. If you're watching this, go check it out. The link will be in the description for it. But just this was crazy, man. And that was only the beginning of all of this. That's what's crazier about this, man. There was plenty of trades that happened today. Obviously, you know, you see a lot of teams made a ton of moves. One of the first moves being Thomas Bryant to getting shipped out to Denver. Denver needs a backup center bad. They have Zeke Naji, who's been okay, just hasn't gotten a lot of run. Not super productive in terms of overall production. He's a very underrated center, but just obviously doesn't fit that role, doesn't fit that timeline. Lakers get Thomas Bryant. They get Denver's 2025, 2026, and 2029 second round picks. And obviously, you know, you see this right now. I think LA got a steal with this, and you can see later on in this trade, or later on, these second round picks come in handy as they get swapped with Patrick Beverley to go to the Magic for Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba's a 50% from the field, 40% from three guy. He was a great fit alongside LeBron and great fit alongside them in general. They need shooters. The Lakers are one of the winners of this trade deadline, by the way. The winners and losers video of the trade deadline, that video will be coming out soon, most likely coming out tomorrow, but they absolutely killed this trade deadline. Rob Pelinka was amazing. He made a lot of great moves this trade deadline. The Lakers had that happen. They also, Devon Reed was in this package for the Lakers. The Trailblazers got Matisse Thybulle from the Sixers, which ultimately led to Jalen McDaniels, which there was a ton of three-team trades today, by the way. There wasn't a lot of directly one-on-one trades. If there was teams that were making a trade, and especially if there's a somewhat big trade, there was a third team getting involved and throwing pieces around, and there was something always happening. It wasn't just nobody, like a one-on-one trade. The only really one-on-one trade you saw was Dallas, and that's surprising because, like, even a lot of these smaller trades, there was multiple pieces getting shipped. So in this trade, Matisse Thybulle goes to Philly. However, Philly gets Jalen McDaniels from the Charlotte Hornets. I like this pick up a lot. I think that Jalen McDaniels is an amazing shooter. He's a really good defender. In my opinion, he's like Jared Vanderbilt, but if he could shoot, I think this is a really good trade. I think Philly's going to upgrade from this big time. They need that shooting off the bench. Obviously, you look at their team. They have Georges Niang, who's not bad, but they need a little bit more shooting. Matisse Thybulle is a great defender, but didn't really provide much of that. Jalen McDaniels does both. And so I think this is a big-time trade. I think they're upgrading a lot for what it's worth. I think it's crazy. The Pacers, they made a trade for George Hill again, bringing him back. Obviously, you know, you saw him back when the Paul George days and all that stuff. Fun team. They're getting him back in a second-round pick. It was amazing. I mean, obviously, you know, back then George Hill used to be a beast. George Hill is kind of in the past of his prime, you know. Obviously, it sucks because he's getting traded from a contending team to a team that's going to make the playoffs, maybe. But I don't know. I think it's still a cool trade. The Nuggets traded Bones Hyland to the Clippers. Now, I like this trade a lot for the Clippers. Bones is an amazing player on offense. Obviously, his defense is not good, But Bones doing that, or Bones getting traded, might be better for him. He'll go there and be the starter because, and he got traded for 2 second-round picks. He got traded for the Clippers 2024 pick and 2025 picks. In case you see me looking down, I'm looking on my phone. I'm looking at Woj's Twitter to try to make sure I get everything right. But he gets traded for those picks. I think if Bones can improve himself on defense, obviously he's put into a really good defensive system now because he got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the league. But that's still a really good trade. James Wiseman gets traded to the Pistons for Saddiq Bey, and that is an interesting trade. James Wiseman's still young. He's a second overall pick for a reason. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. Maybe he has the opportunity to come back, be a productive player. Who knows? Saddiq Bey in this trade gets flipped again. He gets flipped immediately to the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks trade 5 second-round picks for Saddiq Bey. And this was something that happened today, too. There was a lot of trades for second-round picks. They're like, most of these trades today, they included 2, 3, 4, 5 second-round picks. Even the Josh Hart trade yesterday was one that it's a protected first-round pick, and if it doesn't convey to them, they get 4 seconds off of it. Like, what? Like, some of those trades are crazy. Jakob Poeltl gets traded last night. He got traded for first-round pick in a couple seconds, and I think it was Kim Birch. That's a good trade for Toronto. As I mentioned in my hot takes for the trade deadline, I expected Toronto to be one of those teams that kind of bought in, tried to retool around their core, and that's what's going to happen. Maybe around the offseason this upcoming offseason, maybe they try to rebuild if things just aren't going their way in the second half of the season. But it's an interesting trade right now. One of probably the smallest trades of the smallest trade of the day, most likely, is Justin Holiday and Frank Kaminsky to Houston for Garrison Matthews and Bruno Fernando. Just saving money, trying to avoid the luxury tax. Adding in Saddiq Bey cost a pretty good amount of money. They just traded second-round picks. It wasn't like they got salary. They put salary back. So, obviously, they just did this deal to kind of dump the salary off, which, obviously, if they could have, I wish they probably would have just kept Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday's an amazing defender. It sucks that that's what happens, that he's gone. But, maybe he'll get bought out, and maybe that'll happen. Hawks will also send 2 second-round picks in that deal as well. So, it's like what I was saying, just dumping salaries. Now, the Clippers just got Eric Gordon as well. So, the Clippers today, they got Bones Hyland, they got Eric Gordon, which those 2 players right there, they're both offensive main guys, but the Clippers need offense. Their offense has really been struggling this season. It's been down compared to the previous couple seasons. So, they're improving a lot on that side of the ball. John Wall gets traded out to the Houston in this deal. Obviously, he'll probably end up getting bought out. Maybe he'll end up playing for him, but I don't know. Even after all the stuff that happened in the offseason, I don't see John Wall playing for him. He'll most likely just get bought out. Russell Westbrook, the same deal with that Utah trade. In case you missed that, D'Angelo Russell got shipped to LA with Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Mike Conley gets traded to Minnesota in that trade. And Utah gets Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, a first-round pick, and I think a second. So, obviously, Russell Westbrook's just going to get bought out. Rumors have been he's either looking at the Clippers or the Heat. I would love him on the Clippers. I think that'd be a good fit for him. I think the Heat would also be a good fit too, but the Heat doesn't really have much shooting to begin with. So adding in another non-shooter, it just makes it a little bit more difficult for the players on their team as it is. But I think that would be really interesting. I think Westbrook, if you put him in the right opportunity, he'll dominate. And he'll be a really good 6-man. He was even a good 6-man for the Lakers. Just he didn't fit on that team. You could tell from the beginning. That team already didn't have much shooters, and they traded shooters to get Russell Westbrook. So, who's a notoriously bad shooter. So, obviously, looking back, they wish they probably didn't make that trade. And, it happens, but I think they upgraded a ton since then. And the Magic, as I previously mentioned, they traded for Patrick Beverley. Beverley gets shipped out to Orlando, most likely going to get bought out. Mo Bamba gets traded back to LA. If I wouldn't mind Patrick Beverley potentially going back to LA after he gets bought out. I don't know what the roster spot's going to be for LA. They're obviously going to have to release somebody. Maybe that'll happen. Gary Payton II gets shipped back from Portland to Golden State, which I think is dope. I love Gary Payton II. He was amazing for Golden State. And they add that back, and they needed that. They needed that physical guy, that guy that's going to play his heart out, and he was amazing for him. So, obviously, they get a big-time upgrade. Mason Plumlee also gets shipped to the Clippers. Clippers, I don't know why they did that necessarily. They have Zubac already as it is. Maybe they're not doing anything. They can't do anything with Zubac now, but I don't know. Maybe they're planning on using him off the bench. I think Mason Plumlee's a good addition here. They need a big body, but I would have preferred Pirtle in this situation if I was them. But maybe they didn't want to give up the pieces needed for Jakob Pirtle because Reggie Jackson got sent to there, and Reggie Jackson at this point was expendable through the Bones and Eric Gordon, so that wasn't a bad trade. Kevin Knox also got sent to the Blazers in that deal with the Pistons for Gary Payton II, and that was it for Woj. Let's check Shams real quick to see if there's anything else going on. But that was a lot of the trades that happened today. This trade deadline, it was a very, very busy trade deadline. There was a ton of stuff. The Pelicans traded Devontae Graham and 4 second-round picks to the San Antonio Spurs for Josh Richardson. What else is there? Yeah, this was a busy trade deadline, man. Darius Bazley gets shipped from the Thunder, which Bazley has been struggling this season. It's been pretty bad. I love Darius Bazley. I loved him as a player, but he was not doing too good this season. Phoenix, in my opinion, if they can get him situated and get him right, they're getting a steal in this trade. We're getting a second-round pick in Dario Saric. Dario obviously hasn't played too much. He's been valuable for them in the minutes that he's played, but obviously, he's not a 40 or not a starter level player, like kind of just a backup big at best situation right now. So I doubt we'll end up even keeping them, but maybe that happens. Jordan Nwora gets traded in the Jay Crowder trade. 3 second-round picks go to the Nets as well. Muscala gets traded from the Thunder, which I liked Mike Muscala. I wish he stayed. Moose. He's an amazing shooter, man. It sucks that he gets traded, but he gets shipped out for Justin Jackson and 2 second-round picks from Boston. Maybe those second-round picks turn out to be something, but yeah, that's it, man. What a crazy trade deadline, man. There was so much moves, and even then, there's still a ton of rumors flying around. There was still a ton of rumors flying around. You saw Zach LaVine potentially getting traded to the Knicks. That was one of the rumors. You saw OG Anunoby potentially getting traded to some team out west for that could need that defender to guard Kevin Durant come playoff time. There was a lot of big time trades that were even discussed, and there's obviously going to be a lot of moves coming up soon with the buyout market and everything. So I'm excited, man. The NBA has a ton of parity as it is, and I think this just made it even better. You're going to see a lot of teams that improved a ton. They're going to be a lot more competitive. I think this is going to be fun, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how this goes, especially Kevin Durant in Phoenix, dude. That's going to be incredible. And Kyrie Irving played his first game in Dallas yesterday. He played good. So let's see how this season goes, man. It's going to be a ride. But if you like the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in the next one, man. Peace.